Good morning and happy Wednesday. What day is it? Our favorite day of the week? It's Pet Wellness Wednesday, brought to you by your Pet Matrix family. I'm Summer, and this is Miss Bay, and she's going to be helping me out in the kitchen a little bit later. But before that, our Director of Operations and our resident citizen scientist, Will, is going to join us and share all things Pet Matrix with you. A little bit about our unique science to our epic product lineup. So then you're going to hear from our Director of Education, Tanisha, and she's going to share with you our newest product that we're bringing to market, Calm. So there's a huge need for products like Calm in the marketplace, especially in the lives of our furry friends. You know, for rescues like our girl, you never really know what kind of traumas and things that they face when they're out in the world and when they're going to appear. And so with, having them be exposed to stresses, and then that makes more oxidative stress. We're really looking for something that can help calm their energy but still keep them alert and not comatose. So we're really excited to share that with you. Bay was a stray. She has some PTSD, so that's always displayed in the weirdest places. It just comes out of nowhere. So we're really looking forward to sharing that with all of you, so she can, just like your pets at home, have a great way they can thrive. So now I'm going to bring on Mr. Will B., our citizen scientist, so he can share with you a little bit more about Pet Matrix.
Thank you so much, Summer. Appreciate that. Welcome, everybody, and thanks for tuning in. This is earlier for us, but we're excited because we're trying to switch it up a little bit. And like Summer alluded to, we're going to talk to you a little bit about the Pet Matrix journey. And if you know Summer and I have been following us, our health and wellness journey started many, many years ago. And it kind of came to a head in 2017, 2018, when we really started taking it real seriously and kind of parlayed that into a business. And fast forward to about 2018, about a year later, and that's really where our health and wellness journey kind of collided and intersected with science. And it all came about when a study was done by the FDA regarding a new drug that they were putting out called Epidiolex. And this study really kind of awakened the entire health and wellness community. It was the first, and it is the only CBD drug that is FDA approved. And what they had to find out within that study, when something gets FDA approved, what they need to do is obviously go through all of the testing, go through their study groups, and then break down all of the possible side effects that end up happening. And this is really where Summer and I started looking and going, well, wait a minute. It's not just important what we put into our body, but it's important, okay, how our body receives that. And it's much more important in our dogs. So, and in our pets, really. Okay. So what ended up happening was through this study, we realized that the amount of lipids that we intake on for a daily dietary supplement and the things that we do for our dogs is more important to understand how our body receives it. And that's because what ends up happening is when our body ingests any type of compound, right, any type of lipid, it has to break it down. It goes through the digestive process. Your body has to break it down. And this is what they were finding out within that study, is that large amounts of this CBD was causing the liver to be overworked. And specifically, it was the P450 liver enzymes that were increasing at a massive rate, causing fatty liver disease, opening up our bodies to all other types of disease that can come in because we're working extra hard in this one area. Now, what we did then is now we've parlayed, okay, that science, okay, and that technology into what we know today as Pet Matrix. And why did I say this is much more important for our dogs and our pets? And that's because in proportion to their size, their liver is extremely small. All right. And this is one of the reasons why they don't live as long as we do. And so we must make sure that we're not overtaxing the liver. And then on top of that, the fact that we're able, okay, to have a lab partnership that we can now, okay, introduce peptides, highly targeted amino acid chains, okay, that are naturally produced, okay, by our pets. And they're produced for the specific reason for attacking specific ailments. And I'll talk a little bit about that when I get into some of the ingredients of the other compounds within the products. And then Tanisha will be talking a little bit more about that when she introduces the new product that we're extremely excited about and proud of, and that is Calm. So when this science really, takes place and we introduce it to our dogs, now what's happening is we're bypassing, okay? I want you to listen to this, right? We're bypassing the digestive process and we're immediately assimilated into or uptake into the bloodstream, and it's delivered, okay, to the areas of the body that it's needed most, okay? Delivered to the areas of the dog that it's needed most for very specific needs. So if you look in the market today and you go, okay, I want to get something to help my dog with the gut. Well, you could find 3 to 5 different products within one company that is dealing with the gut. Well, with us, you're going to find one because we're going right after, okay, repairing the gut. Okay, and we're going to be introducing later on down the line our a probiotic and prebiotic line that will help maintain the gut, because that's what the probiotics do, help maintain the gut. But what we have now with our immune and our gut product is really repairing the gut. Okay, from the lining where you can get leaky gut problems, which then lead to exposing the gastric fluid within there to other areas of the body, can lead to many, many different problems. So what we do is with our gut product and immune product, we really attack repairing the gut itself so that it can receive and absorb the nutrients that you're giving your dog, the vitamins, the minerals, and things of that nature. So really, when you look at Pet Matrix, it's not just, okay, the formulation of specific compounds to address specific needs within our dogs, but it is the delivery system. That's what makes this so special. Okay, think of giving your dog, like, let's just get into the first product here. Okay, the gut and immune. Okay, when you give your dog curcumin, okay, or curcumin, right, you can give it to them in a turmeric form, or with us, we go straight and get the compound and we get the what we really, really want, that major anti-inflammatory. Well, getting into the science of it, curcumin is bioavailable at about 5%. Okay. And that's really what separates us from everybody else in the market space. Nobody even comes close. Okay. The bioavailability is the rate at which we can absorb something, the rate at which your dog can absorb something. So if it can only absorb 5% of what it's ingesting, what's it have to do with the other 95%? Say it with me. They have to break it down. It goes through taxation. It goes through being digested and processed, right? And so when your animal is doing that, when your dog is doing that, they are working. And now imagine they're doing that on a daily basis with multiple products, with multiple supplements, because supplementation is becoming a necessity. All right. It's not becoming necessarily, a luxury or something you might want. It's something that your dog needs. And it's because they're typically not getting these compounds within nature, right? So they need, because you probably aren't feeding it to them. Okay. And so we can supplement that. So it's important to make sure you have a very highly bioavailable, supplement that you're feeding your dog, because it's that waste. Not only are you wasting, the compounds, 95% of that compound, but you're also wasting your money. All right. Because if you're only getting 5% of something, that means you're throwing away 95% of something as well. So highly effective and efficient delivery of the compounds is what we are looking for, and we have achieved that. So curcumin, an amazing, you'll find that within almost all of our product lines because it really is a superhero anti-inflammatory within nature, and it's highly, highly sought after, and it is extremely low in bioavailability until you come over to the Pet Matrix family, which is basically little to no waste. Okay, so you can go ahead and get as close to 100% bioavailable as you want in your mind because that's what you get. Then you talk about peptides. If you've heard me talk before, peptides are basically what the medical community and myself is calling the future of medicine, the future of healing, really. And that is because peptides, we like to call them super ninjas here at Pet Matrix, coined by our director of education, Tanisha. And that's because they can really go after a very specific ailment. For instance, okay, BPC157 is a peptide. It's known as the healing peptide in the medical community. And that's because it repairs, damage, repairs lining damage within the gut, ligament damage also within your dog. And so it's very specific in going after healing, damage, repair. What you'll find in nature with a lot of compounds is that they have a wide array of things that they help with, which is amazing. But when we can drill down because of our lab partnership and get bioactive peptides within our formulations, not by themselves, not solitary. Because right now, if you went on to Google or even Amazon and you look for BPC157 for dogs, they will have a supplement, But it's that one supplement because they don't know how to conjugate and put into a specific formulation, Not many companies do. What they're doing is they're just putting together all of these other type of compounds and throwing it in there, not really delving into the science of it. And again, that's what sets Pet Matrix apart from everybody else. I was in a holistic healing group for dogs that I routinely contribute to. And somebody was asking about IBS for their dog, and they tried this, and the diets aren't working, and everything else. And I get on there and I say, I'll tell you, BP157 is an amazing peptide that can help. And within this group, there's a lot of very, very educated people, very educated on their dogs, the problems and ailments that their dogs have, and they're looking for solutions. And I was really able to open up a few people's eyes to peptides, because again, the pet nutrition world hasn't quite caught up. And I want to say that again, they haven't quite caught up to where human health and wellness is going. If you've noticed over the last 2 years, human health and wellness, the industry and the products that they're coming out with is elevating. All right. They're upping their education. They're upping their science. They're doubling down on getting those peptides and all the other compounds delivered to us in a highly efficient and efficable way. That hasn't passed down, or I should say up, really, to our dogs yet. And that's where we come in. We're filling this gap that is needed because they're just throwing these active compounds, which are great. When you talk about curcumin, yes, oh my gosh, you want to give your dog curcumin. But if you have a choice of giving them highly bioavailable curcumin or low bioavailable curcumin, which you're probably giving your dog turmeric, which means that they're trying to extract, their body is trying to pull out the curcumin that's within the turmeric. And again, the bioavailability is extremely low. So you must be aware of that. Another active peptide within our immune and gut, KPV, which is amazing, again, for the gut restoration. Remember, we're really trying to seal off the gut. That's how you'll make the gut strong. You seal it off, you handle the lining, you handle any holes that are in, you heal it, and then you introduce more microbiome, probiotics, prebiotics, so that the so that the probiotics are fed, so they can live and perform or create a harmonious, gut, right? It's alive, all right? Trillions of microbiome, within your gut. And so you need to be thinking about all these things when you're thinking about supplementation for your dog. And then obviously as well, we have glutamine and NAG, which is a great form of glucosamine. It's not glucosamine, okay? It's a better form of it. So just understand that. And then the other product that Tanisha broke down so well, again, we haven't really named the product, but for right now, we're calling it pain because that's kind of what it's addressing. It's addressing much more than that. But active compounds within the pain product, when you're looking at curcumin, again, it is a superhero, you guys. If you don't have curcumin in your dog's daily diet, you're missing out. All right. They're in a constant state of battling inflammation, just like us, right? Inflammation is the root of 90% of all disease within us as within our dogs. Okay. And curcumin is a major anti-inflammatory natural. You just need to get a highly bioavailable version of it, which is here. Then we have glutathione. Okay, the master antioxidant. Why do they call it the master antioxidant? Because it can actually lend electrons to other antioxidants in need, right? Which is amazing. It's the only one that does that. So when you're introducing, like you'll see in Summer and Bay's kitchen, right? A lot of blueberries, major antioxidant, right? Blueberries, superfood. And it's because of the antioxidant qualities, going around and clearing up those free radicals, reducing the oxidative stress, especially in our dogs, so that we can keep them alive longer and healthier during that time, more energy. Summer and I were talking about this the other day. We were at the park with Bay and two beautiful golden retrievers, and both super heavy and overweight. You could tell that their owner just loves them and wants to give them snacks all the time. And one of them had an extremely gray muzzle, and we asked how old she was, and she was 5 years old. But she had a lot of energy running around. You saw she got a little lethargic and all that other kind of stuff. But you have to understand that what you're seeing on the outside is a direct reflection of what's going on in the inside of your dog. So you have things that you're looking out for, right? So allergies and things like that, right? Redness in the eyes, licking of the paws, bad gut, okay? Licking of the nails, okay? Really gnawing and scratching and things like that. Well, for oxidative stress, right, a gray muzzle is one of them, because guess what's happening? They're aging faster. That's not a good thing. That's oxidative stress. They already age, okay, at an extremely high rate, 7 to 10 times faster than we do, right? So we want to make sure that we are slowing down that oxidative stress, and you can do that with our product. And again, very low in bioavailability, very, very low in bioavailability. Okay, you can get on, you take a look at it. It's just they're looking for other ways for oral bioavailability to increase. Well, look no further. Pet Matrix has it. Quercetin. Oh my gosh. Quercetin is another one of those compounds found in nature, found it in elderberry juice, right? It's the active component within there. It's a great antioxidant as well, anti-inflammatory, but it really helps with as an antihistamine within your dog. So allergies, things like that, really, really kind of knocks that down and is an amazing, again, super compound, low in bioavailability. And we've solved that problem, because what we do at Pet Matrix is we're solving problems. All right. And the problem is in the way that our dog can absorb specific compounds with the least amount of taxation on their internal organs as possible. That's really what you're doing. Okay. And by the way, BPC 157 also works to protect the organs within your dog's body as well. So amazing, amazing. And then what we have in both of them is a bovine collagen. Listen, collagen is the glue to our body, just as it is the glue to their body. And think about it. They work their bodies when they get up and go. And if you're being a good fur parent, okay, you're taking your dog out on walks, on runs, and things of that nature. So when they're out, okay, they're expending that energy and they're really into it, right? Their joints, their ligaments and everything else, they need the collagen, right? And it will help keep them together uh, in a way that keeps them healthy longer because they can be active longer. That's the reason, right? If they can be active longer with the least amount of pain, they'll want to be active, and then that will help them in all the other areas of their body, help with their brain function. Okay. I mean, you think about it, when you think about yourself, and if you think about yourself, you can really translate that into your dog. Okay. When you're lethargic, we're both mammals. When you're lethargic and you're not working out, okay, you don't have drive. You feel you can get depressed. You can have anxiety. All right. You're not going to then be eating well. You're not going to be feeding your body. So then you're going to be in this loop. All right. And only you can get yourself out of that loop. Well, our dogs lean on us to get them out of that loop. Okay. Unless you live on a massive farm with acreage where the dogs can just run and you can open your door, which, by the way, is what Summer wants to end up doing at the end of our life here, is, and they can get out and they can run. Okay. You need to be an active participant in their life in order for them to have that long, healthy, sustainable life. All right. Which is what we're all really looking for at the end of the day. So, I am so excited about getting us to our launch date. It's right around the corner. We know that those of you within the focus group are looking for ways to order more product. Okay. So we will be reaching out to all of you within the next day or so. Okay. Showing you the different packages that you can look at to get for your dog, and you will be on a special list for pre-orders. Okay. And then we will be able to deliver the products to you within the first week of April. We are not open to sales across the board to anybody else at this time. And we will tell all of you guys the exciting news once we get it, kind of work through the processes. But we're really excited about the direction of Pet Matrix. We're really excited about all the results that we're already getting back. And I'm extremely excited about what our director of education is going to talk about here with our last product that we're going to be coming out with currently, and that is our calm product. So let me bring Tanisha on here. Hey, Tanisha. Oh,
hello. If you guys don't know who this is already, this is the one and only Nash, Master Nash, as I like to call him, and he is my wonderful, big, handsome baby boy. But I really want to drop some facts here, very, very simple fact, and to me, it's quite alarming because technically these would be old numbers. Okay. Back in 2019. And the reason why I'm going to put this out there is because Will very specifically said, we are solving problems within the Pet Matrix. And that is really what we're here to do, to change the quality of life and living for our animals that we literally create emotional and physical contracts with to live life together. That is what animals offer us and what we offer them, a contract to each other. And with so many animals that are in households, like we talked about last week, they feel our emotions. They feel what we move through day in and day out. While we sleep, while they're sleeping, their bodies are constantly processing information. And with that being said, this is before any crazy world challenges took place. Back in 2019, it was estimated that 23 million dogs are actually severely impacted by fear and anxiety just within the United States. That's only within the US. So think about how many households have dogs within them, how many dogs are actually suffering on a daily basis. I personally know that I recently did experience a dog that had massive anxiety, and this dog was a rescue. And if Pet Matrix had been in its life and continuously used on a daily basis, I could pretty much put money on it that that dog's quality of life and living would not have resulted in it being taken back to the shelter. True story. So, what are some things that you might notice with a dog that has severe anxiety, some type of mood challenge disorder? You might notice a dog that likes to hide, excessive shaking, excessive barking, that very high pitch. You can literally feel the anxiety type of bark. You might have urination, defecation on a constant basis, or maybe in some places in the house that aren't necessarily meant to be, peed or pooped on, excessive drooling. That these are all little things that dogs display when they're feeling that heavy sense of anxiety, a lack of calmness. And this is why Pet Matrix is here to literally create a solution for dogs who do have challenges like that, especially in the elder dogs. As dogs get older, their bodies are exposed to so many forms of oxidation. Their bodies have broken down in many different ways. And so I'm going to go into the key nutrients that we have here within Calm and really explain in very simple terms, much simpler than last week, in very simple terms, and how these, I can see Will laughing in the studio. You can't see him, but he's laughing because, we had to get a little bit scientific last week. We had to break down oxidation in the different forms. So let's go into our key nutrients. And what I want to encourage you guys to do as I'm going through these key nutrients, just jot down one bullet point. If you have the ability to do so, please don't do that if you're driving. Just jot down one bullet point per nutrient that we're going to go over and ask yourself, is this something that could help my dog or a friend's dog? Because we want to be thinking of people and their animals outside of just ourselves. Okay, because remember in 2019, before any world changes, there were 23 million dogs that were affected by fear and anxiety. We don't want that anymore. Okay, so let's break down L-theanine. You can write it out however it sounds to you. So what I really love about L-theanine is that it very specifically is helping to target the nervous system with environmental stressors. What are things that can impact a dog from the environment? Our personal mood, you guys see Nash, he loves to lay on my lap. He's such a little lap dog. Environmental stressors, our moods, how we're processing our emotions. If we take our car or our dogs in the car, traffic, these are just examples of environmental stressors. Even synthetic fragrances that are used in the home, those are also examples of environmental stressors. And these environmental stressors do put so much stress on the nervous system that they absolutely are noted to create things like separation anxiety challenges. So when we have miscommunication from things that are happening in the environment that are impacting the physical body, they create all these different types of stressors in the nervous system, and they just start manufacturing just different types of behaviors. What I very specifically also like about L-theanine is that it blocks excitation receptors. What does that mean? So if the nervous system and the body is overly stimulated and it gets really amped up and overexcited, L-theanine has a way to calm that down and block that excitation receptor. And so what that does is it keeps the body in a state of peace and calmness. And what it also has the ability to do is increase serotonin and dopamine, those happy hormones within your dog. And that impacts things like digestion, less stress within their actual gut so that they can have healthy digestive capabilities. So amazing things with L-theanine. I can go on and on about that, but we're going to go into the next nutrient. The next nutrient is magnesium citrate. And what's really great about magnesium is known for having a very calming effect. It calms the adrenals, it calms the nervous system, and its role is to literally maintain a healthy nervous system. But very specifically with dogs, what it helps to do is it actually promotes flexibility within muscles. As a human, I'm sure you've experienced whenever you're feeling highly stressed, You know, your jaw might get really tight. Your muscles might feel like they're really clenched and tense. You know, maybe you have like a spasm in a muscle or in your back or in your neck, even when you get stressed out. Okay. From a human experience, imagine what a dog feels. They are just like super, super sponges, absorbing so much emotion and feeling that, yes, magnesium citrate is perfect for them because it helps them to de-stress. It helps them to have less muscle tension, less spasms, and very specifically as well, magnesium citrate is also super helpful for dogs who have seizures. So that's a really big deal because unfortunately, that's very much on the rise within the animal community. Okay, so I hope you took some bullets there, why that's important. So now let's talk about thiamine. Okay, they sound the same, L-theanine and thiamine, but this is a little bit different. Okay, this is a vitamin B1 and it's actually a water soluble nutrient, but big but, this is a very key essential nutrient that is entirely responsible for managing stress and anxiety within the dog body. It is supplied in commercial dog foods, but unfortunately, there's nowhere near enough of this nutrient. So when you're going out and you're buying your dog food and you're, you know, expecting to get all the wonderful things that dog food is supposed to offer, this is actually a nutrient that is not readily available in the supply that people are purchasing. What this actually helps to do, especially when you're supplementing with it, is yes, it supports the nervous system, but it's also noted to be able to help support the body against neurodegenerative disorders, so cognitive disorders, brain disorders. It helps with irritability within dogs. It also is noted to help with short-term memory loss. So this is obviously a very key essential nutrient that our dogs absolutely need to be getting in order to have a healthy nervous system. Because remember, when our dogs are receiving so much information and emotion and they're feeling all the things that create that result of anxiety, if they don't have the basic foundation, just like humans, if humans don't have the basic foundations, but if our dogs don't have the basic foundations, they're going to be operating from that state of lack of calmness, fear, and anxiety all the time. That's going to promote oxidation. That's going to promote accelerated aging. That happens in all living beings, even to the plants outside, to the plants in your home. If living beings are experiencing exponentially accelerated oxidation and stress, things are going to start happening in the body. So we want to make sure that we have all of the key baselines. Let me know if this makes sense to you guys, that this is coming in clear and simple enough for you to be able to understand. Okay. So let's talk about magnolia bark. Magnolia bark is really one of my, I don't want to say one of my favorite nutrients, but in a way it kind of is, because it helps with so many things directly and indirectly. But what makes magnolia bark so efficient is it's very rich in polyphenols and antioxidants, which last week we really talked about how important antioxidants are, how they have the ability to act as the super ninjas to the free radicals. And those free radicals are basically things that destroy the cell and damage the cell. Magnolia bark has these two amazing polyphenols. I'm not even going to get into the names of them because it's not necessary at this moment in time. But what makes magnolia bark so amazing is that it's an anti-inflammatory, it's an antimicrobial, it's extremely abundant in antioxidants. Most importantly, it is noted to prevent oxidative stress and inflammation. So there you go. Very simple terms. Oxidative stress. So if you can remove the stress of oxidative stress in the body, you're automatically putting the body in such a higher threshold to succeed in optimal wellness. Point blank, that's exactly what it does. So it's going to be able to put the body into that state of calmness, by tackling those free radicals, by removing that stress of the nervous system, by ushering in those antioxidants, by putting the body into an anti-inflammatory state. Instead of being tense and, like this and not being able to breathe, the body can release, calm down, and be in a state of ease. And that's how we have the ability to prolong quality of life. Make sense? Good. Okay. So now let's talk about GABA. GABA is something that is so incredible. GABA in itself has one of the most quality of life improving compound essence to it in a very fluffy way of describing it. It's actually one of the most important neurotransmitters in your pets, in your animal's nervous system. It actually tells the brain to slow down, and it's entirely responsible for putting the nervous system into that state of ease. Our body is actually supposed to be able to produce it while we're sleeping. But again, if our dogs are experiencing a high level of anxiety, that level of anxiety is going to promote massive oxidation. It's also going to start utilizing all of the nutrients that it needs in order to quote unquote stay afloat and in balance within itself. But if the body doesn't have that reserve, then it's going to go into that state of depletion, which is, hi Paka saying hello. So we want to be able to support these little bodies or big bodies with GABA so that they can put their nervous system into that state of calmness. Okay. When we have a depletion of GABA within the body, this is really where our dogs do begin to experience that accelerated rate of anxiety and even irrational phobias. I've heard of a lot of dogs that have very crazy, which seem crazy, reactions to certain things. And that absolutely can have everything to do with an imbalance of neurotransmitters within their body. So I'm sure that you guys are familiar with the next amazing nutrient and compound that we have here that is blended in with this formula. If you have ever used chamomile tea, please let us know in the comments. I know I have used it for almost my entire life. I know many people have. I give chamomile even to Paka as well when he's, acting all crazy. But chamomile, it's a natural compound. And what makes chamomile so effective is its terpenes and the flavonoids, which fight as super ninjas against inflammation and free radicals. It is an anti-inflammatory. So again, think of anti-inflammatory, decompressing the nervous system, taking the body out of a state of oxidative stress, being able to neutralize that inflammation and bring it back into a state of balance, along with being a mild sedative. Now, when I say mild sedative, I don't mean like, okay, comatose, you're going to fall asleep. No, what it does is it creates that very gentle, calming reaction. The muscles feel nice and relaxed. There's less tension in the body. What also it's very helpful with is skin inflammation, which I did not know that. I did not know that chamomile was excellent as a topical for inflammation whatsoever. But I love that because, again, that makes a lot of sense. If there is a dog who is experiencing anxiety and stress, automatically that that's going to increase inflammation and increase in cortisol within the body. And when you have those types of reactions, chain reactions happening in the body, you can have a lot of crazy skin reactions take place just from stress. If you've ever seen a dog or even let alone a human have hives in states of stress, that would be a prime example. Chamomile is also extremely helpful for gut conditions as well, which I did not know until I really started digging deep into that. So again, this is another one of those flagship products that goes hand in hand with everything that Will described before getting into the comp product. And last but not least, we have bone broth. We've talked about the wonderful benefits of bovine collagen, but I'm really, really excited to be able to have bone broth. And when I heard about this several months ago that we were going to be having bone broth in here, that to me was incredible because, again, more gut support. Lots of information, you guys, and we're so excited to launch this entire line to you in just a few short days. Back to you, Will.
Thank you so much, Tanisha. An overload of a wealth of knowledge and information given to us always. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Towards the end, you started hearing Tanisha talk about, the dogs, when they come out with hives, and that's from, their nervous an issue going on in the inside. You heard me say everything that you're seeing on the outside is based on something that's going on in the inside, and those outbreaks and those hives and things like that are a reflection of that. Something I wanted to just talk about for a second here before I pass it over to Summer and Bay in the kitchen is L-theanine. You heard her say that it promotes the increase of serotonin and dopamine in our dogs, and those are happy hormones, right? It gets them happy. Well, but this is a calm product. Understand, this is again where health and wellness and science collide, okay? A calming sense for your dog is being in a happy state of mind, not a stressful state of mind, not a sedative state of mind. That's why we don't have, and there's lots of calm products out there that have melatonin. Okay. And if you, again, have followed our journey, you know that you should not be taking melatonin on a human level as a daily dietary supplement. And our dogs are the same way, because what it's doing is sedating them. It's not calming them. It's not reducing their anxiety. It's sedating them. You know what calms them? GABA, an amazing, powerful nootropic, because like Tanisha said, what it does is literally it steadies your brain waves. You ever have a problem sleeping at night and you close your eyes because you're thinking about everything going on tomorrow? Your brain waves are going crazy. That's what's happening within your dog when they get stress and anxiety. You see them kind of laying there and they can't fully get to sleep. Their eyes kind of twitching and fluttering around, and GABA will help that. Okay, so again, where health and wellness meets science is what Pet Matrix really is. And we don't look to sedate your dog. We look to get them into a calm state of mind so that you can enjoy that time with them even more. And that's really what a calming product should do. And that's exactly what the Pet Matrix Calm product does. So I am going to be passing it over to Summer and Bay in the kitchen here, and they're going to go ahead and talk to you guys a little bit about what if my dog has, some irrational eating habits? What if I leave the food out all day and they don't eat everything and you sprinkle on the food? Well, she's going to have some other ways that you can go ahead and help your dog get everything that they need out of the Pet Matrix products. There she is.
Ready? All right. Thanks
for hanging out with
us.
us. There are a few ways to approach your supplementation with your dog, depending on what their eating habits are. So if you're like Miss Bay, well, you just, clean your bowl out and get it all back in her 2 sittings. So she has 2 feeding times. We keep a close feeding window for her because that's good for her autophagy and all her cells getting back in order. So she eats at about 9:30, 10, and then she eats again at about 5 o'clock. And she consumes everything, so we don't really have to worry about her. But there are a lot of dogs who have different eating habits. Let's say your dog eats kibble, and they don't eat it all at one time, and they're going to kind of eat it throughout the day. So how can you kind of ensure that they're going to get their entire daily serving of the supplement so they can receive the maximum benefit? So what we've done is come up with a few ideas to help you out with that process. So all the Pet Matrix supplements come in a powder form. One of the great ways to do it, depending on what kind of time you have, is to make like a treat in an ice cube tray. You can take some bone broth. If you're going to use bone broth, you want to make sure if you either make it yourself that you're omitting any onions. Onions are toxic to dogs.
Come on up here, Bay. And many of the store-bought brands do have onion in them, especially if they're designed for human consumption. But you can find them without on Amazon. Warm it up a little bit. It helps to dissolve the grass-fed bovine collagen that is in the supplement. Another fabulous way is using chamomile tea. I had some tea the other day, and Bay was just trying to like drink it out of my glass. So you can just heat some up. It's handy. Many people have chamomile tea at home, and make yourself a little ice cube. So you just want to, I find it's easier if you actually take the serving. Bay gets a half a teaspoon of the pain here and drop it in first and then add the liquid. Oh, hey, listen, Missy. And you don't need much, like literally. I made some ahead of time. You can kind of see what they're like. And then she'll just, it dissolves right in there. And then she'll just gobble it up. You can throw that right in the freezer. They're easy to pop out. Another way to do it, they sell the lick pads. You can get those on Amazon too. And you could take it and you could stir it up in some single ingredient, either peanut butter or almond butter. That's another way to do it. Again, it's whatever's going to be the most convenient and workable for you. Depends on how much time you have. If you want to deal with mixing it up in the peanut butter and that whole thing every morning. We honestly find that even the most picky of eaters will just gobble it right up when it's on their food. They're really drawn to the bovine collagen. So I'll show you here how easy it is. This is what Bay's food looks like. We meal plan for her, and we make all her food raw. So she's got meat that's blends with organs and bones and all kinds of essential nutrients that she needs, along with fresh fruits and vegetables. And then, of course, she needs to supplement. So we're going to take a teaspoon of her pain. That's about what's in there. And she happens to get 2 teaspoons of her immune and gut. I'm going to sprinkle that right on there easily too. And because her food is so moist, it just kind of already starts to absorb in there. But if you want, you can see how you put a little bit of even tea on there. Give it a stir, and she'll be ready to eat this breakfast. Are you ready to eat your breakfast? What do you think, guys? I'm ready for breakfast. Look how simple and easy it is to supplement at home, huh?
Excellent. Well, I think that we need to let Bay get to her morning meal. And we want to thank everybody for joining us on this Pet Wellness Wednesday. And please join us next week as well. We're going to be having a replay of this later on this evening. So we will be broadcasting those. But join us next week as we'll have some new exciting information for you guys here, what's going on with Pet Matrix. And maybe break open some new science for you. Okay, that's always fun. You know that I love it as well. So thank you so much, everybody. Have an amazing day. Bye now.
Thank you.
Bye.